Pronoun shifts, a la Shmoop. When Jerome's friends went to the zoo, they found out that you aren't technically allowed to borrow the baboons for an afternoon. But sometimes, as with pronouns, you can shift your morals. Let's just say there might be some unexpected visitors at Washington High next week. Alright, pronouns. Words that take the place of nouns are slippery little things. If we don't keep them in line, they shift. A pronoun shift is when we start our sentence, paragraph, or section with one pronoun, like they, and then we end up with another, like you, even though the pronouns are supposed to take the place of the same noun. How's that work? Well, let's talk about it in terms of person shifts and number shifts. A person shift is a move between first, second, and third person pronouns. The most common is the shift from third person, he, she, it, they, to second person, you, your, yours. For example, when Jerome's friends went to the zoo, they found out you aren't technically allowed to borrow the baboons for an afternoon. The first pronoun is the third person, Jerome's friends, they. But then a wild you appears, shifting the pronouns from third person to second, taking the pronouns where they aren't supposed to go, sort of like zoo animals. So we've got to shift back and change everything to third person. When Jerome's friends went to the zoo, they found out that they weren't technically allowed to borrow the baboons for an afternoon. A number shift will take a pronoun from singular to plural when it doesn't need to go. Usually it starts off with a singular noun like senior prank or key to the baboon cage, and then it shifts. That singular noun, which should be followed by a singular pronoun like he, she, or it, turns plural. So a he, she, or it turns into a they. Alright, for example, a baboon doesn't do too well in a classroom because they mostly communicate with their butts. A baboon is singular, which means that the pronoun should be he, she, or it if you want to hurt its feelings. But in this sentence, it's followed by the pronoun they, which means we need to shift back. We can say, a baboon doesn't do too well because he or she communicates with his or her butt. But it's usually easier to go plural. They is a lot easier to deal with than he or she. So we shift the sentence to all plural by adding an S to the end of our singular noun. Baboons don't do too well in a classroom because they mostly communicate with their butts. Anyway, if we're interacting in English and not with our feces, it's important to keep those pronouns in place. Shift-free pronouns keep your writing clear and coherent, like the sign on the baboon cage that said, "Do not enter." Seriously, you are not the first person to try to free the baboons. It will not go well for you. Yeah, that sign. Subscribe to check out more equally fantabulous videos. You should see the subscribe button just below this one. If you're having trouble locating it, we recommend you watch our video, How to Find the Subscribe Button.